Expats Everywhere. Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Rita, and I am from Houston, Texas. And I am a guidance counselor, and I have been in education for 14 years.
Okay, so where are you currently?
I am in Yangon, Myanmar.
And where else have you worked in the past?
This is actually the first country that I work in outside of the US.
And what is it like working there?
Depending on what you do in your career, I am a school counselor and I work at both campuses, at two campuses. So I do quite a lot of traveling during the week.
So, can you tell us what a typical day looks like for you?
Sure. Like I said, I'm a school guidance counselor. I work for Dulwich College International here in Yangon. I go between both campuses every week. I really do not have a typical day. Every day can look different. I sometimes meet with parents. I go into classes for well-being with students. I see students one-on-one. I support teachers. So all I can say is that it's a very long day. I am at work by 7 o'clock, 7:15, and the day is over about 4:30.
Are there any other jobs available for expats that you're aware of besides at schools?
Yes, so besides education, I know that a lot of expats work in engineering, they work for embassies, and there's a lot of NGO organizations.
Great. So then how much can someone expect to earn in these different fields?
Well, I'm not sure about the other fields, but I will say that in education, it really depends on your position and your years of experience. But I would say estimating between 2,500 a month to 4,000 a month.
And that's USD?
Yes.
And is this enough money to live on? And what kind of lifestyle can you live on with that money?
It definitely is, and it really, again, depends on the person, depends on your job. Sometimes your job will provide housing, but it's fairly inexpensive to live in Yangon. So I would say that it's definitely enough to live in a apartment with Western standards.
So if we take the base of 2,500 US dollars, is that enough money for someone to live and even save, or will they probably not save anything?
No, it's definitely enough to save. I know between my electricity, internet, and water bill a month, it's about $100. Rent could be anywhere from 500 to 700. But again, if you work for an employer that provides you housing, then you have a lot more money to save, obviously.
Do you get paid in USD?
Yes.
And is that a common thing for expats there?
I believe so. I know for in education it is, but other fields that might be a bit different. I'm not so sure.
Okay, so let's say someone has a job and they're moving there. How much money should they bring with them to get started?
Typically, from what I know, there have been the expats that I've met since I've been here have had their employers provide housing from the moment they arrived here in Yangon. So it's usually until being in a hotel for about a day or two until their place is ready. Um, if that's not an option or something that happens, I would say about maybe a grand.
And then how should someone pack and what's the weather like?
Well, that depends. I only packed 8 luggages, so I didn't bring any furniture. My apartment was fully furnished, so it's pretty much what you need. Again, I'm not someone that needs a lot of very minimalistic in my lifestyle, so I brought 8 luggages, um, clothes, shoes, and some medications like over the counter, like Tylenol and such. The weather is lovely from November to March, I would say. And then from June to September, it's rainy season, monsoon season. So you definitely want to come with rain boots, rain jackets, and umbrellas.
Okay, and is there anything that you would recommend people bring that they can't find there?
Yes, so razors for ladies is a big one. I usually go home and bring lots. I stack up tampons, crushed red pepper, nutritional yeast if you're a vegan or vegetarian. A lot of those products like protein, all vegan products. I say it's very difficult and sometimes impossible to find here.
Okay, and do you ever travel outside of Myanmar in the surrounding countries and pick those things up and bring them back, or do you generally get them from the States?
No, you can definitely get them. So, two places, two cities where expats will usually travel for purposes and just for shopping will be Bangkok and Singapore.
Great. Okay, let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the safety. How safe
Mhm.
is it in Yangon and do you feel safe?
It is extremely safe in Yangon. I would say I even feel safer here than back home. I mean, sometimes I'm not out really late, but I mean, I have been out till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock sometimes, and it's just very safe. They're very respectful. There's really nothing to worry about. It's one of the places where I have felt the safest.
And are they used to seeing foreigners walking around?
Um, I would say so. There are times where they're not. It's pretty typical as a Westerner, especially if you have blonde hair and blue eyes, where people will actually stop you and ask for a picture. But they're very polite when they do that.
Okay. So, as an expat there, how do you meet people?
Well, there's different ways. One is through work, of course, and then through different organizations, different events. I'm going on my second year, so and I have seen that there have been a lot of events that have been added. Facebook is the way to find out about events here. And I've seen the event section just grow. So now, I mean, there's salsa dancing events, there's events for those that are interested in yoga and health. There are events now. There's a lot more events for film festivals, or not film festivals, but where they show films. So there's just different ways, and then of course, bars if that's what you like to do and hang out. So I would definitely say there's several ways.
What's the visa process like?
Well, for me, I if you're coming for a job, that's going to be a lot easier. I would recommend applying for an e-visa, which you do online. All you have to provide is your passport, make a payment, submit pictures. It's been quite difficult for people to get a visa upon arrival. If you have a visa upon arrival, you will need an invitation letter. So I know when my father and my aunt came to visit me, I provided them with an invitation letter from work. Other than that, I don't think it's that easy for you to just arrive in Myanmar and then apply for a visa. And then once you're here over a certain number of days, then you apply for a business visa, which is through your job.
Okay, so you arrived on an e visa and then you went through the business visa process once you were already there.
Yes.
Okay, do you know if it's possible to go to Myanmar without a job, just get in through the e visa and then find a job while you're there, or is that difficult?
Um, I know some people that have done that. I guess it depends what field you're in, if you can afford it to be without a job. But I do know I have met people, since I've been here that have done that. And then I have met those that that's just not something that they would do. But I mean, you can, I would say yes.
Right. All right, and how about the healthcare? How is the healthcare there, and would you feel comfortable getting a procedure done?
Um, I would say the healthcare is not the best. However, as an expat, I do have wonderful insurance provided by my employer, and there is an international hospital where they have plenty of English speaking staff. So that's where you would go if you have a cold, if you get really sick. However, if you are in need of a procedure or you need to find or you're wanting a specialist, let's say an endocrinologist, a dermatologist, then most people go to Bangkok or Singapore. But Bangkok is a lot closer, it's just an hour flight, so that's pretty feasible for most people.
And then how about Yangon as a travel hub? Would you say that's a good travel hub? Why or why not?
I would say it depends on your length of time. So obviously location wise it's near a lot of countries, but if you are going somewhere else for like 3 days, it might be kind of difficult because just the times of the flights are very inconvenient. So for example, on a weekend I might be able to go to Bangkok or Singapore because they're direct flights, or even Hanoi in Vietnam, but anything else would require a pretty long layover. So I would need more than a 3 day weekend. So if you're going for an extended amount of time, you can leave from Yangon. There's several flights. Again, if time is not an issue for you and you're going for extended amounts of time.
All right, well, lastly, can you tell us some pros and cons about living in Yangon?
Sure. I will say that I have a lot more pros. I also consider myself to be a very optimistic person. So I would say with the pros is it's a different city. It's a gem for me. It's very unique. You see, it's not uh, so touristy. Definitely not. So you can walk down the street and see people wearing their tanaka, which is a lotion, a sunscreen that they wear in their face. Men still wear the skirts, the longis. They are some of the kindest people that I have ever met. You feel safe. It's very inexpensive to live in, and proximity to other countries. It's a great location. Cons, I would say, you don't have access to healthcare, to the best healthcare in case of an emergency. Some products you can't find here. There's no mailing system, so I don't receive mail because it just doesn't work. You can send certain things through DHL, but other than that, it can take months for you to receive a package from, especially from home. And then if you are a vegan or a vegetarian, you're going to be pretty limited on choices. And also, if you don't like rain during monsoon season, you have 3 months of pretty intense rain. But other than that, it's a great place.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for telling us about Yangon today.
Thank you.